The Juventus coach said he was angry yesterday because he won the Champions League, scoring 15 goals. This shows that he always wants to be the best. Well, Gab Marcotti, you've been following this story closely over the last 24 hours, and am I right in thinking that basically Ronaldo was supposed to go to the Champions League draw, everything was set up, but it got leaked to him that he wasn't going to win, so he went, you know what, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They had a helicopter to take him from Turin to Monaco. I'm told it could have covered the ground in about 40-odd minutes. Would have been at the ceremony for about an hour, and then the flight back home. But when he got wind of the fact that he hadn't actually won, that's when he decided not to go. Now his people tried to sort of convince him otherwise. But he was pretty steadfast in his decision. It came as a surprise to the Juventus officials who were there. They were there in the Meridian Beach Hotel. They sort of huddled together. What do we do now? UEFA not overly pleased about it either, because Alexander Shevrin addressing it this morning, the president saying, "Look, it's a vote. It's beyond our control. It's not supposed to leak anyway beforehand," but I think the impetus is to sort of remind everybody this isn't some big anti-Cristiano plot. This is 55 journalists, one from every European nation, and the 80 managers who were involved in the Champions League and Europa League last season. Those are the guys who went and voted. Those are the guys who made the decision. Every single one of them, except for Zinedine Zidane, I guess, because you can't vote for your own players, could have voted for Ronaldo. But, the fact is they chose Modric. It's democracy. Sometimes you don't get the outcome that you want.
It's box office stuff. Basically, Jose doubling down on the comments that he made after that defeat against Spurs.
I kind of think this is the way, and the guys and girls that were in that press conference or have been at any press conference, I think that's going to be the trend going forward with this manager in particular, because they can smell blood's the wrong thing, but they can smell issues. Yeah. They can sense problems. Yeah. And so they're pushing him. He's fighting back, clearly, and that's within his right. And he is to an extent, and we've talked about this, he is, I think, annoyed at the lauding of a Pochettino who hasn't won anything, of a Klopp who's been successful in Germany but not yet so in England. So he is right in what he's saying, and he's been a great manager. He doesn't have to tell people what he's won. Anybody who follows this great game knows how successful he's been. But I'll repeat what I said earlier in the week, Dan. I don't think too many people are interested in historics at the moment, particularly not United fans. So I think historically, they're not particularly bothered. They're looking forward to what, and I'll say it again, what can you do for our football club going forward?
And as much as I agree with that, I think the question itself and how it was posed was a gotcha question. The reporter asked him if he still considers himself one of the great managers in world football. And the answer to that is unquestionably yes. And that's what Jose Mourinho is getting at. When you look at his record over the years, once he decides to pack it in and retire from management, he will be regarded as one, regardless of what happens from here on in with Manchester United, he will be regarded as one of the best managers in football. And as critical as I am of Jose Mourinho, I think on this instance, he is well justified to take the line that he did.
Why does he keep bringing up this stupid, I finished second last season, it's one of my greatest achievements?
That part, I don't know.
Liverpool were focusing on the Champions League. Arsenal and Chelsea, obviously, were in complete turmoil. Why keep... It's ridiculous. You don't need to do that, do you?
That part I don't know. You don't win the Champions League with Porto and win the Champions League with Inter Milan and do the things that you've done. Deliver Chelsea's first title in 50 years and somehow... finishing second, a country mile behind Manchester City, with Manchester United ahead of Spurs, who spent nothing, not just this summer, but last summer as well. That, for me, is the ridiculous part. Take that out, but in all fairness, take that out. I'm with Jose Mourinho here.
From what Shaq is saying, for Man United, finishing second and having no trophies is not a success. Right? It just isn't for that club. Right? They have raised standards over the last 20 years in particular that have to be met again. Whether it's difficult to replace Fergie or not, we know it is. But that club have standards. The other side, and Shaka pointed out, is he's already in the pantheon of great managers. He's in there. He's one of the greatest managers that's ever managed. There's a lot of them, a lot of great managers. He's one of them, no matter what happens. The problem is, and the question is can you still... Basically, the question was, can you still cut it?
Yeah.
Can you still manage? Can you still coach the players, structure the team, and peg back Man City? That's the question, and I think, you know...
I think
he's struggling with this whole Man City thing.
Yeah, and what also hurts him as well is the way that he threw stones at Arsene Wenger during the end of his tenure, when Arsene Wenger obviously had all that success, a fantastic CV, and Jose Mourinho was the one who pointed the finger at him and called him a specialist in failure.
Yeah, and now, well, yeah, that's come full circle for Jose Mourinho, and rightly so. I totally understand the criticism that he's gotten. I think in this press conference, the initial question was a leading one. It eventually got to, can you still be that manager that you once were? I'm not sure that he can. The old cliche in football, you're only as good as your last game, and in Jose Mourinho's case, their last game was a 3-0 home defeat to Spurs.
Gab, what does this win mean big picture for Milan going forward? Because there were already whispers about Gattuso, obviously a crucial 3 points.
Yeah, I think what's encouraging here is that for 45 minutes, we saw Milan play really, really well in the first half, and then obviously dipped in the second, and then got the winner at the end. But I think, you know, relative to the Napoli game that you mentioned before, when they were 2-0 up at halftime, those two attacks where they scored in that game were almost like the only two times that they really got forward. This time around, Higuain was much more involved. The right guys around him. I think Çalhanoğlu in the mix makes a huge difference. And as Gattuso said after the game, you know, he's got options now. He's got different pieces, and it's up to him to make them go and fit together in the right way. They're not all going to fit. I'm not sure where Bakayoko fits in going forward, but he has options. And I think from the perspective of the club, you know, until they sort things out at the top, they're going to continue with what they have in terms of they like the players they got. Castillejo, I think you're going to see more of him going forward, and they're happy to continue with Gattuso.
The weekend then kicking off in style, and of course it continues here on ESPN+. Parma against Juventus tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern. Meanwhile, you've got the likes of Lazio against Frosinone and Sampdoria against Napoli. All those games available on our ESPN network. Mark Ogden's put a lot of work into this over the last few months. Be sure to go and check out his brilliant article over on the website. Boys, obviously, you played Manchester City before all this money came in. Could you have foreseen the success and the fact that they are now one of the big teams in Europe?
No, and we both played at the old main road, the old ground, which I think was where Paul Dickoff was sat with Mark Ogden, which is a bit like Highbury in a way. It's sort of apartments now. I used to love playing there because I loved the old grounds for the character, but clearly they needed fresh injection, fresh money, fresh investment in a different direction. Could not envisage the turnaround that it's been. A heck of a lot of money's gone in, a heck of a lot of great players have been there now, but nobody... They were always a club that... They were topsy-turvy. I mean, they were as far down as, I think, the third tier at one point. It's an amazing story. A lot of people don't like this story because they think it's just somebody's bought it and it's a bit of a plaything. We've got the financial fair play and we've got all that. But if you're a City fan, you're just going to be loving what you're seeing.
And that's the thing. City fans have had to endure a lot. And in Mark's speech, he speaks about City changing the face of football forever. City are now trying to go shoulder to shoulder in terms of accomplishment, in terms of size and stature, with clubs who have built their brands over decades, if not the last 100 or so years. And that's not an easy thing. It's not a cheap thing to do, as we've seen over the last 10 years. And for them to maintain that is going to take a whole lot more money and a whole lot more time. But it shows that it can be done. And they've did it, not just in spending money, but starting off pretty much in the shadow of Manchester United.
Gab, what stands out for you from what they've achieved over this last decade?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shaka's right. They didn't just spend a ton of money. They hired some of the best people in the world. I'm not just talking players, but people with vision to go and put that money to work, to maximize it. They changed things socially in parts of Manchester, and they've done a tremendous job. It's also true, as we heard on that video, that was pre-financial fair play that they got the ball rolling. I don't know if today somebody was to rock up with the same level of investment, even though financial fair play allows for a voluntary agreement and overspending in certain targets or whatever. I don't know if you could see a leap like that again. Clubs can grow, but it would need to be more organic and it would need to be slower. I think we're not going to see something like that again unless regulations change.
Welcome to Extra Time. Friday night.
Friday night. What was the question?
Gab's very tired. He was partying all night in Monaco. What a life, Gab.
Holiday weekend and all.
Did you have a lovely time, though?
Was he eating? Why are you
It
eating?
was good.
He's eating.
He had to swallow something.
I have to say, always
Little
bloody...
mints.
How are you
He
gonna
was having a mint.
How are you gonna have a
stay awake
snack in
somehow.
between segments of the show? You can't be
I
snacking
didn't
now, Gab.
know having a mint kept you awake. You should have got to stay awake. By the way, you want to go out more often because it's about the freshest I've seen you looking for a while.
There you go.
He's looking remarkably
Well,
fresh.
thank you.
You didn't have a late one, did you?
A bit of sunshine out there.
Oh,
Nice
lovely.
swim in the Med.
Oh.
Some fine food. Lots of UEFA guys in suits walking around.
I'd love to have
You know,
seen that.
what could be
You
better?
swimming in the Med.
Shaka alluded to a free bar during the show. Was that something that you enjoyed? And I imagine champagne, caviar, the whole shebang, Gab?
There were a lot of freebies there, not at the draw itself, but in the various events surrounding it. And yeah, it's interesting because Monaco is what it is, and anybody who's been there will know what I'm talking about. But what is pretty surreal is there's a bar there that we went to, which is essentially packed with all your sort of sporting heroes of yesteryear, all in one place, and yeah, it's kind of neat. You're not going to ask me to name names, but
I presume that's a
Luis
lot of old...
Figo, Peter
Yeah.
Schmeichel,
Was
everybody
Macca
just
there?
crammed in
Macca's
there.
always at these things.
I did not see him this time around, but it could well be that he was at a far more exclusive venue than I was at.
He must have been wearing my false nose and glasses in Macca because he's always there, as you said.
Always, always.
Did you see any ex-Formula 1 drivers? Because they always live in Monaco, didn't they? Yeah. Sorry.
I did. I saw Felipe Massa
There you go.
Go.
and some other dude who I didn't recognize, who looked like he could be a Formula 1 driver.
What would you choose to watch, Craig? Golf, F1, or football?
An order.
Yes. obviously football's third. That's a given.
So, it would depend on the golf tournament, but I would rank it, I would probably say F1,
Really?
then golf.
Wow.
Depending on what golf team, but probably F1, then golf. And then somewhere in there there'll be a
Yeah.
game of football. Or I might just watch all three at the same time.
Yesterday we talked about Steve Nicol and his fear of the dentist. What interesting dentist stories do you guys have? You knocked your own teeth out.
Yeah, and I did, and then I had them fixed when I was finished playing because I wasn't allowed to do it when I was playing. So I had anyway. But I went to the dentist. One of the times I went to the dentist just before I moved here for a cap or whatever you call it here, a crown at the back. I got a dental assistant who was going to give me the injection, and I think it was her first time. So I only had the dentist, only did it for me.
Right.
And because he was going between, he had 2 dental rooms, so he was going between the rooms. So I got the dental assistant.
Right.
She got nervous as she put the needle into my mouth. She fainted. And I can tell you, that was a close call.
She really fainted.
She was really nervous about doing it. Not as much as I got nervous, realising she was nervous. And I was just about to get the injection, and she fainted, and I had to come in and take her out. And then the dentist did it himself, and I said to him, oh, that was close. I mean, no, I don't know. It's a needle.
Wow.
Yeah, she fainted. The
I
girl.
wasn't expecting it to go that direction, that
Yeah,
story.
because he was going between, his practice was getting busy, so he had 2 rooms operating at one time, and he said, the jock's in there, Burley. he's a cheapskate. I don't care. Just get in there and jab him with that needle. She fainted, yeah.
Wow.
Well, thankfully, I didn't see her again after that.
Well, I doubt she works again after that.
No, she would. She did. She just doesn't fill you full of confidence.
No.
Shaka, any?
Nothing. I got nothing.
No, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Most exciting game you've ever been part of? Good question.
I was a part of one of those 4-3s with Liverpool.
The Newcastle Liverpool
yeah.
ones.
Second
Which
one.
one? The Collymore one?
Nah, that was me. I think it was Robbie Fowler at the end at Anfield.
Yeah.
I think that was the second one.
Yeah.
I think one of them. We had
Yeah,
three
Collymore was the
back-to-back.
first one, wasn't it? And then and then the second one they cut to Collymore on the bench and he didn't celebrate.
Yeah, there was 3 back-to-back. I can't remember. I think I was the second one. But
Yeah.
That was disappointingly exciting.
Wow. Yeah.
I was involved in a 4-4. But it wasn't a great game. It was 2 bad teams in the Premier League. It was my team, Derby County and Bradford. But it was 4-4. That was the 3 penalties game that when I missed the third. I was involved in a 6-2 European game against Tyrol of Innsbruck when I was at Celtic, and then I was involved in a 2-2 European game where Maka scored the equaliser when we played Liverpool in the UEFA Cup.
Yeah. I remember.
At Celtic Park in front of a packed house. That was pretty exciting until Maka scored in the 94th minute, which drained the excitement a little bit. But some good ones.
How would UEFA Best Player snub affect Cristiano? Do you guys have any past experience of being snubbed for a deserving award? Hammer of the Year here? Scottish Player of the Year?
Scottish Writers Player of the Year, yeah.
There you are. Gab, what award are you most proud of that you won?
You know what? I'm going to quote from the legendary baseball player Ted Williams, who, when asked whether he'd rather win a batting championship or win the MVP, the Most Valuable Player award, he said he'd rather win the batting championship because that's something you actually win, whereas awards are things that other people give you.
Right, so Gab has been snubbed, obviously, for a number of awards. Hence, he's
I'm quite bitter about it.
Is there an award that you felt you should have won, Craig, that you didn't?
I didn't win the... No, I mean, I didn't... That year that I won the Scottish Football Writers Player of the Year, I came second in the Players Player of the Year. Oh.
So it's the players who vote, yeah?
Yeah, I might...
It shows the sort of relationship you had with players.
Well, no, you can't vote from what? well, exactly, because you can't vote from... People can't vote for you from within your own club.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to have a great relationship with other players from other teams that I'm trying to fight and kick and scrap with every week, and I may have given a bit of verbals out at some point to quite a few. And so anyway, Jackie McNamara won it, and he was a deserving winner. He also played for Celtic with me, and he was a great player. So he won it, yeah. But
how much you buying? He was a deserving winner.
No, Jackie had a great season.
Yes, Gab.
Jackie McNamara, who I've met numerous times, is also one of the nicest people I have ever met in Scottish football.
There you go.
I don't know what Gab's trying to say there. Exactly what are you trying to say, Gab?
He's the second nicest person Gab's ever met in Scottish football, and you're now looking at the box. Jackie, no, it wasn't. But you always think you're going to scoop all the awards when you have a season like that, which I did. You know, when kind of season I had, I thought I was going to scoop it, but I finished second because the players voted for Jackie.
Did you go to the ceremony?
Open bar.
The players play, yeah. I went to both.
Did you know you were going to lose when you got there?
Open bar.
I'd already knew I won the writers.
No, but did you know you were going to lose the players?
Yes.
Oh, okay, but you still went. You didn't do it.
Yeah, no, but the votes were in. The results were in before. Yeah. Right. We had a good camaraderie at Celtic, so we all went primarily because we were getting a night out off the back of it.
There you go.
Open bar.
Shaka.
Yeah.
Any awards you were snubbed with?
Sexiest man in the Caribbean. I thought I should have been high up that.
You were 9th in 2009.
I thought I was at least 6th, maybe 5.
The only thing is you've got to give speeches when you do these things.
Oh,
right.
In front of very large audiences.
Right.
Bow tie, black tie. That's not. I don't like that.
Can you imagine Stevie's
You don't like the speech or you don't like the black tie?
No, I don't like the speech. I don't mind speaking on TV. I don't like public speaking.
Right.
I'm not so keen on that.
Because Stevie won the Football Writers, didn't he?
He won the Football Writers in England.
87 or 89?
1959, I think it was.
That speech must have been brilliant. Because you know he'd have had a couple of settlers.
Thanks. Back to the bar.
Gab, I'm going to direct this final question to you. The reason will be obvious. What looks to be the most entertaining group in the Europa League this season?
D.
Oh, wait for the Champions League. Our producers
no,
in Friday
no.
mode.
I'm going to go with Group L, actually, in the Europa League. The one with Chelsea, Vidi, Bate, and Pau.
Just put that one back up again then.
Our producer's now doubling down because he wants to know Gab's favourite Champions League group.
So he's trying to make it look like he didn't mess up.
What, can't you remember them from last night, or what?
Honestly, no. That was yesterday. Europa League was today. I just gave you a Europa League group. Now you want a Champions League one too?
No, I don't particularly.
Come on now.
I think we're all quite happy.
No, okay. Look. I think Ronaldo going back to Madrid, and
Right.
Florentino Perez, and Valencia, of course,
Ronaldo's going
in
back to
there as well.
Manchester. Not going back to Madrid.
Sorry?
Ronaldo's not going back
Sorry,
to...
yes, I meant Manchester.
just go
I
get
just
some
said
sleep,
Mourinho.
Gab.
Sorry.
That's why you don't win awards.
That's why you don't get awards.
My bad, clearly.
That's why Mark Ogden is chief writer, not you.
That's it. I can just see it now Monday. Ogden's musings. Oh dear.
You go with Mark's music,
It's the-
wouldn't you?
Sorry?
You go with Mark's music.
Smart Alec. you always got to be smart, haven't you? I'm just trying to be different.
Get some rest, Gab. Go and polish that award, Craig. Right, that's it. Done. We're back tomorrow for more. I don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Shaka Hislop is joining me for this one. Look at that young dapper Shaka that we have on the wall. But we have an interesting discussion here, and it comes on the back of Unai Emery banning his players from having, get this, fruit juice. Now, before you decide to think this is weird, he's not the only manager that's had some bizarre bans. Like, look at Gareth Southgate banning his players from Starbucks, Thomas Tuchel, fizzy drinks, understandable. Arsene Wenger, a Frenchman, banning chocolate. David Moyes with crisps. Shaka, all these bans, would this have stood back in this day?
No!
Why not?
Not a chance. Not a
A
chance.
bit too ridiculous.
Too ridiculous. Over the top. Listen, as a player, you're responsible for your own fitness, your own health, your weight management, and getting the best out of yourself. That list is extensive, and that's putting it as nice as I can. Back in my day, to put things in perspective, even after this, Newcastle, our post-match meals, we would all stop for fish and chips on the way home. We were allowed to drink up to 48 hours before kickoff. This banning fizzy drinks, Starbucks would not have washed with any of the players back in the day. I'm not sure how it would have been received or what the revolt would have looked like. I think we at a point now are risking going a little too far. Again, going back to my Newcastle days, when we talk about we'd go out for a drink 48 hours before a game, we'd go out as a team. And that, I think...
And the manager knew.
And the manager knew. Everybody knew. Because we would all go out. From the youngest pro to Alan Shearer and David Ginola. We'd all go out together. We'd all stay together. And for me, that had a far more positive effect on the team and on performances than not having a Milky Way would have. Or some other chocolate.
With that said, let me just read you an interesting quote that I read from Phil Neville, of course, now in charge of the England women's team. And he says, I know every part of their lives. I know about their animals. If they've got a dog, I know its name. I know if they go to the cinema. You've got to build these relationships because we've got this new culture in football and it's important. Do you see the benefits of what he's trying to achieve?
No, that's not a relationship. That's stalking.
The benefits of stalking.
Listen, I understand you trying to get to know your players and you want to be whether you want or need to be a friend or a confidant or a father figure or whatever it may be. But there's a line. And if you ask me, just given that code without the proper context to it, that's crossing the line. I don't mind manager knowing my dog. I don't mind manager knowing when I go to the cinema with my wife. That's just wrong.
That's crossing the line.
That's crossing the line.
It's borderline stalking. There's other people too.
Exactly. That's
So you believe that managers need to be close, but this now and all these bans are just going a little too far?
It's going too far. Listen, Sir Alex Ferguson, as good a manager as he was, I think that's what he got right. He managed the players, and in particular the young players, he managed the aspects of their lives that needed to be managed. The older players, that's your responsibility. And if you don't, you'll be out of the team and out of the club. That's the repercussions of it. You don't need a manager being involved in that aspect, especially as an older player. As a younger player, again, there are certain things that you're responsible for, certain things maybe the club can continue to guide you on. But this kind of big brother attitude, nah.
No, that's kind of more of a overbearing father.
Somebody could have spoken to me about them shorts.
Oh, Shaka, we love those shorts. Leave the shorts. You see Shaka Hislop,
Could have done
he
with
turned
that
out
advice.
quite fine, but I guess all these other managers, they're almost like on an episode of Doing Too Much. Now, we love celebrating anniversaries, don't we, Shaka Hislop? And today marks 1 year since Kylian Mbappe joined PSG, and what a year it's been for him, Shaka. And kind of ironic that he's sort of stolen the spotlight from Neymar.
Yeah, and if you think back to his early days, his earliest days for PSG, he didn't really hit the ground running. It wasn't all that everybody expected him to be, given what we'd seen and grown accustomed to with Monaco. But he grew during the course of the year. And I almost want to say matured, which seems strange given that we're talking about a teenager here. But you see the way he handles himself off the field. A lot of far more notable players can learn a lot from him. But on the field, I think he's become a far better player. And as much as the spotlight was on him at Monaco, a lot was expected from PSG. And he grew into that expectation. And it couldn't have.
Shaka Hislop joining me as we tackle all the La Liga action coming up, Shaka, in La Liga Predictor. Let's start off with Celta Vigo against Atletico Madrid.
Celta have been decent at home of late, but then Atleti have been very good at Celta. They've won their last 5. I think that continues. They make it. Did I get that right? There you go. They make it 6 in a row.
And you know what? I'm going to make sure I get it right too, hopefully, and agree with you on this one, Shaka. So, Real Madrid now at home against Leganes.
This is the easiest of the 5 to pick. Real 100%, Leganes
0%.
Start. But stuttering start, well, a loss and a draw so far. You don't take that form to the Bernabeu.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Levante against Valencia.
Valencia have been disappointing to start the season. A good draw against Atleti opening day, but then a loss last weekend. I expect them to bounce back and get their season up and running. Got them for the win.
Because of if, buts, and maybes surrounding Valencia, and they are away from home, I'm going to sit on the fence for this one. Shaka, your favorite spot, and I'm going to go for a draw. Let's move on now to Barcelona up against Huesca, their first ever La Liga season, but they've yet to lose.
And they've started the season really well, but go to the Camp Nou. As good a start as it's been. Enjoy the day for what it is, but nobody's expecting it
Trailing
to be
2-0 last time out, check against Atletico Bilbao, fought back for a 2-2 draw. I think this fairy tale is definitely going to hit its first villain. And it has to be Barcelona at the Camp Nou.
Barcelona villain all of a sudden.
Well, so they're for Huesca's fairy tale.
All right, okay.
I have to, come on. And then finally, this is a bit of a derby now. Real Betis against Sevilla. We always like to say that the form goes out of the window when it comes to derbies. What do you think?
Never mind that. Despite Europa League action in midweek, I think Sevilla get the win.
Yep, I think even though Real Betis, like I said, it's a derby and they definitely will fight at home, I think Sevilla just have too much in the tank for them.
So this is the only differentiator here?
Yeah, we just have one tracker because you know great minds think alike.
Okay.
No, great minds think for themselves. Anyways, that's exactly what we did. Thanks so much to Shaka Hislop. Continue tracking everything from all the La Liga action this weekend here at ESPN FC.